Hi everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing well. If you are new here, then make sure to subscribe. My channel is all about helping you reach your goals and improve your mindset. For today's video, I am going to be giving you 13 tips in order to maximise your productivity whilst working from home. So these tips primarily relate to corporate jobs, but you can actually implement them if you are currently maybe studying or revising for exams, or if you are doing online school at the moment. So let's just jump right in. So my first tip is going to be making sure that you have a morning routine in place. It's so much better for your mindset and your productivity when you have an established morning routine. So for example, if you wake up at 5 to 9 and you're starting work at 9, you're not going to have a very productive day because you feel like your whole morning is going to be rushed. So I have actually got a morning routine video scheduled for my YouTube, so if you do want to see that, then obviously I'll let you know once that comes up. Primarily this just includes waking up early, doing something that I love, so this could be reading. I usually spend about 10 minutes actually tidying my space, just so, as I said in my previous video, it's so much easier if you have a clean space rather than everything just being cluttered everywhere and just not clean. It will not make you feel good. So I always spend 10 minutes doing that. And then I just spend the rest of the morning just getting ready and doing my makeup, doing my hair, choosing an outfit for the day if I haven't already done so the night before. And that just gives me lots of time to just grab a tea or a coffee before I actually start work and I feel prepped for the day. So by actually having a morning routine established that you follow every working day, it doesn't have to be on the weekends, but if you do actually have a morning routine established for the day, it definitely sets your day off on the right foot. So the second tip is going to be having a dedicated work area and work equipment if you can. Don't work from your bed or your sofa. I tried doing that for months. I was working from my bed and my back problems said no. So because of that, I ended up getting a desk which has a lot of storage so I can file everything away. I got a chair and I also got a monitor. So in my role currently at my corporate job, I do a lot of work with data. So I tend to use Excel a lot, and I also do a lot of work with kind of design and formatting. So I tend to use PowerPoint and Word a lot as well. So having a monitor has really helped me because it allows me to see the small details that I may not be able to see on my laptop screen, because obviously my laptop screen was a lot smaller than my monitor screen, and it's just helped me so much. And it also allows me to keep up loads of tabs at the same time. So if I'm transferring data from one Excel sheet to the other, I can easily see that rather than just having it on my laptop screen. So another benefit of actually having a monitor is it helps keep the work eye level, which is so important for your posture, and it can actually reduce eye strain. So another thing that I like to do is I like to set my personal phone to do not disturb. Obviously if you have a work phone or a business phone, keep that on during your working hours, but I personally set my personal phone to do not disturb. And by doing this, it has actually helped me so much, so I'm not just getting distracted by notifications when they come through. If you do have an iPhone, you can actually set Do Not Disturb to come on automatically during scheduled times, which is what I do. So from the hours of 8 till 4, my Do Not Disturb comes on. And it's actually quite smart because even though you have Do Not Disturb on, if the same person calls you twice from the same number within 3 minutes, it will actually allow the call to come through. So if someone needs you urgently, you can still receive the call. You can also on iPhone set up auto responses to messages when you have your Do Not Disturb on. So if someone texts you, you can set an auto reply just letting them know, by the way, I have my Do Not Disturb on. If you need me urgently, you have to call twice within 3 minutes or whatever, and they'll know that you're working as well. So tip number 4 is going to be logging on 5 or 10 minutes early whenever you can. So it usually takes me a few minutes to log on anyway, just because we have to verify who we are. So they send a code to us and then we have to verify that code against the system, and we also need to connect to the internal network. So that is why I try to log on each day a little bit earlier, so I actually have time to do this, and if any issues arise then I can just deal with them, or I can reach out to the IT team and they can help me log on. Another reason why it's quite important to log on a bit earlier if you can, especially at a corporate job, you can actually see if anyone's put in a last minute meeting for you. So if someone has put in a meeting for 8 AM and you're logging on at 8 AM and you don't get online until 5 past, you're going to miss 5 minutes of that meeting. Generally, no one really puts in meetings with me because I do start quite early, but you never know. So tip number 5 is going to be checking your calendar and emails first thing when you log on. And this will just help you kind of set the basis of your day. So by doing this, this will let you know the kind of work that you need to get done for the day and also what meetings you have scheduled in for that day as well. And this also helps because you can kind of have a look and see what meetings you have in the calendar for that day. And it also allows you to kind of see, right, do I need to do any kind of pre-work for that meeting, or do I need to have something ready to present for at that meeting, etc. So I'd say if you do one thing when you first log on, it would definitely be checking your emails and your calendar. Tip number 6 follows on from tip number 5, and this is going to be prioritising your work. The things that you want to make note of are what are your top 3 most important tasks for the day, and you want to focus on those. You also want to do the most important tasks and the most urgent tasks first. So if you come across something that is important and urgent, then you want to get that done straight away. Another thing that I've found that has really helped me is batching similar tasks together, just because when you're switching from one task to another and they are just completely different. So say, for example, I'm doing some work on data and then I switch straight over to design and formatting. Your brain needs time to adjust to the different types of tasks that you are doing. So if you're batching all of your data together and then you're batching all of your design and formatting together, if you're batching all of your client documents together, it reduces the amount of kind of like switch time that you need, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. But that is why I try and batch similar tasks together. Another thing is if you have a massive project that comes in and you do work as part of a team, see if you can kind of share that responsibility with them. So say for example, if you have a massive project come in and it's going to take absolutely ages to get done, check in with your team, see if they have any workload availability, and then just have a meeting with them, explain what needs doing, and then you can work on that together and deliver on that together. Tip number 7 is going to be something that I have just only introduced into my work routine, and that is using the Pomodoro technique. So for this technique, you are going to want a prioritised to-do list, so a list in order of priority, what you need to get done first and foremost at the top, and then the other things that aren't as urgent down the bottom. And what you're going to do is you're going to set a 25-minute timer, and you are going to work on the first thing, or if they're kind of smaller batches of work, then you can just work through the whole list. But you want to work on this for 25 minutes. And once that 25 minutes is up, you want to give yourself a 5-minute break, and then you just repeat this 4 times, and then you take a longer 20-minute break. So in these 5 or 20-minute breaks, what you want to do is you actually want to get away from your desk or your workstation. So you actually want to go and stretch your legs a bit. You want to go and make a tea or a coffee or grab a water. You can grab a snack. As long as you're getting away from your desk, that is so important, because you don't just want to be sitting there bent over looking at a screen all day. This technique has really helped me because you give yourself 25 minutes, and it isn't really that long if you think about it. Just that pure 25 minutes of just working through your list. So tip number 8 is going to be when you are on Zoom calls or conference calls, make sure that you have your camera switched on and your audio switched on where possible. So not only will this actually encourage you to be present at the meeting, it's also ensuring that you're not using this time to kind of check your phone or do other work, because your mind's going to be somewhere else. And if this is an important meeting or a training session, you do want to be present, because you don't want to have to look back at the recording or make contact with the host and get them to explain it again, because it's just going to be a waste of your time and a waste of their time. So make sure that you have your audio and your camera switched on. As I said, not only does it make you look professional, but it does encourage you to be present at the meeting. My next tip is going to be making sure that you use all types of communication methods in order to get work pushed over the line sooner. You can call them, you can put in a Zoom meeting with them, or if your work do anything like a instant messaging system, you can use that. And by using all of these forms of communication, you're not just going to be sitting around waiting for people to come back to you if you want to get work pushed over the line. And if you do use all of these communication methods, you're actually allowing yourself to wrap up work and projects a lot quicker than if you're just waiting on email responses. Tip number 10 is going to be making sure that you take your full lunch break. So they're called lunch breaks for a reason. You want to get away from your workspace, you want to go for a walk, you want to stretch your legs, you can go and make yourself some lunch, be sure to eat, and just make sure that you have a proper break where you're actually doing something that you enjoy. You definitely want to make sure that you get lunch break, because if you're just working flat out for 7, 8, sometimes 9 hours, it's really hard for you to kind of focus in the later hours of the day because you haven't had that break, you haven't had that time to just kind of wind down. Whereas if you just step away from your computer for an hour or 30 minutes, however long your work break is, you can actually get so much done because you come back feeling refreshed and replenished, and it's just so much better for you if you do actually take a lunch break. Tip number 11 is going to be setting boundaries for yourself. So if you're answering emails at 8 o'clock in the evening, people are going to expect you to be working at 8 o'clock in the evening. They're going to send you emails and work to do. So you definitely want to set boundaries for yourself, because at the end of the day, you do have a life outside of work, and your work should know this too. Don't get me wrong, sometimes we do have to work late. Sometimes there's things that come in and it's needed for the next day, or it's needed for that evening. It's out of your control, it's out of my control, it's out of the office's control, but just try not to keep it as a habit. My next tip is going to be blocking time out in your calendar in order to get work done. So if you feel like you're just constantly in meeting after meeting after meeting and you can never actually get any of your work done during your working hours, this is going to promote you working into your own time. You don't want to do that on a regular basis. So what I would do is I would start blocking out times to actually sit there and just focus solely on your work. So you may not be able to do that for the day that you're just starting, but you can start it from the next day. Whenever your calendar seems to be free, just block out that time so people know not to put in meetings with you. And my final tip is going to be switching off your computer at the end of the work day. So as you can see, my workspace is here and my bed is literally here. So I was laying in bed reading and I was getting emails hitting my inbox at 10 o'clock at night from colleagues over in New York, because obviously that's their working time, they're 5-6 hours behind us. So I would definitely say just switch your computer off, because I was, as I said, I was laying in bed reading and I could just hear the sound of emails hitting my inbox. And it's so much easier not to get up and actually go over and start working and checking through your emails when you haven't got the sound of them coming through. And I know I've said this before, but I'll say it again, taking time to yourself and winding down and just having a bit of you time is so important, because if you don't have that, you're just going to feel continuously exhausted and overloaded, and you're never just going to get time to just sit down and relax and wind down. If you don't schedule in time for yourself at the end of each day, it's just going to decrease your mood and your productivity for the next day. So definitely make sure to switch off your computer. I'm guilty of this sometimes, but I'm making a conscious effort to do this more. But actually switching off your computer at the end of the day, it actually disassociates your brain from thinking about work, so you can actually focus on spending time with your family or working on your side hustle or doing stuff that you love or seeing your friends, etc. So I would definitely say make sure to switch off your computer at the end of the work day. And that brings us to the end of today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it and it's helped you. If you did like it, please give it a big thumbs up and be sure to subscribe. I bring out new videos every single Sunday, and I hope you have a great productive week, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.